for the hottest news out of the obstacle racing scene? Want to stay up to date on the freshest info, the latest podiums, and hear interviews with the who's who in OCR? Well, you've come to the wrong place. Well, some of that you'll find here. But we're not the media. This is not ORM, OCM, OCRM, ORCM. This is OCR Talk.
Hello, this is Jason, and thank you for tuning in to OCR Talk. I got done with the DEKA Fit Orlando race this morning. We did the live stream for it on site in Orlando, obviously, and wanted to just spend a few minutes talking about the technical details behind that. We actually had myself and our two commentators on site, so we had Luke and Xander, which was awesome. Having commentators on site is always just brings more energy to them. Even though they do a great job when it's remote, it's just never the same as being there, you know. And especially in a DEKA Fit where you can see everybody running past you. You know, if we were commentating on site at a Spartan, there would still be times where they just wouldn't see them for a long time anyway, so it wouldn't really be all that different. But with this, they're constantly running in front of them, which is really cool. We were in the middle. It was next to... right in front of us was the tank push and pull, and then to our left was the and the air bikes. So we could see all that pretty good, and then we could see the finish pretty much as well, but just not quite as good. So the setup included having a computer, a laptop, where I was doing the producing from, but I was remoted into a cloud computer on a platform called Paperspace. I may have talked about Paperspace before, but the reason I use Paperspace is because it was a fairly easy setup. Like, you pick a machine and then you just go with it. Like, there's really not much that you got to do. I know I've talked about AWS a little bit in the past for the Amazon Web Services. Setting up a cloud machine on their platform can be tricky. And so it's the main reason why I haven't gone that route yet, just because it just takes a little bit more time and thought. And it looks like I'm going to have to go that route anyway, though. So Paperspace worked pretty good, but the weird thing is that the machine has an RTX 4000 in it, which CPU-wise, or GPU, sorry, graphics card-wise, is plenty. I know it specifies the CPU, but I just don't remember. But it does say it's only 8 cores. So whatever CPU it is, it ended up causing some trouble. It ended up giving me... I got a guy in my car, like, trying to get in front of me, trying to get some money. Anyway, so the 8 cores, it seems like it's enough whenever I'm testing. In all my tests, in sitting there with 5 cameras coming in from all the Mevo cameras. So I had the Mevo cameras set up on the course. I had one at each corner, and then one at the start line, which I ended up messing up and didn't get to use. But the other 4 were still out there the whole time, so I jumped to those at times. And then we had the rabbits like normal. We ended up only having 3, and that's because Shan was gonna rabbit. Shan Powell, who has become he's rabbited for us before, but he's become our director of partnerships, and he's working on getting partners and sponsors and ads and all that good stuff. And so he didn't get to rabbit because he also works with DEKA helping get volunteers. And they had a group that had to bail on him. So he had a little extra work he had to do. So he was doing that. But, with a course like this, 3 cameras is more than enough. Like, it's plenty especially when they're all clear and going smooth. That's another thing, is that the cell signal was really good here. Middle of Orlando in a big convention center. And I think we were getting about 20 megs upload, which is twice as much as like I would ever even try. We actually ended up going with 10,000 megabits, kilobits, upload bit rate for the bit rate. And so it worked well, but it still was probably a little much, even with 20 megs upload. I don't know if it was just because you never know. It's just, cell carriers and how much priority you have, even though you've got good upload speed, there's still priority over other people, other cell phones, and there's lots of people at a convention. So there was times where the feeds would get choppy, but for the most part they stayed pretty clean. And so I'll have to go back and watch it, but I feel pretty confident the picture itself should be good. Like, probably some of the best imagery we've had, but still not perfect. And there's other reasons for that, and also phone versions and their cameras and how good those are. That all that stuff plays a role as well. But so we started the show, and so I did all the testing yesterday. I didn't have any issues. I had those 5 cameras, and I had vMix Call, which is what we use. It's kind of like Zoom, but it's built into vMix. Use that to bring in the myself as a producer and the commentators. And I know I tested with those 2 connected yesterday. And so I don't know if I'm not sure where the fault really is, but it's either from having those with cameras, but with phone cameras. So they're, the SRT feeds coming in from the phone cameras. That something about it just eats up the CPU. I gotta figure out where that is, because you can bring in SRT, and as long as you got enough graphics decoders, so the graphics card that you have can only decode so many things, and I forget if it's 2 or 3 or what it is, but typically those are saved for the output. And maybe if I would have used some of them for the cameras, maybe that would have helped too. But anyway, it just got to where the machine was saying, vMix was saying that the CPU was getting overburdened, and it really made it tough to, like, what we saw was a little choppier, and it makes me worry about it. Obviously, I don't want the thing to crash, but I think I did watch a little bit on my phone, like just watch the YouTube feed, and it did seem pretty clear. So I think it was good, but I'll find out later whenever I go back and watch it. So with that being the case, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go to AWS and just go with a better machine. I think it's going to be more complicated to set up, but I'll go with something with 16 cores instead of 8. So I'll give that a try. Got 3 weeks to do that before OCRWC. I need to have that and test it by then. And that's what we'll be using going forward. I know I've been using my house computer for quite a while now, but I recently moved, and they don't have fiber where I moved to. So unfortunately, I just don't have the choices were either just coax, like regular old coax with pretty crappy speeds for way too much money, or Verizon's got home internet now where you're basically on cell signal, and The it's good. It's got a good download. I get like 250 megs download, but I only get like 4 or 5 upload, if that. So I don't know why that is, but I don't know if it's just where I'm at. I'm not getting good 5G connection. That's probably the same reason why I don't have fiber, because it's in a weird area. So I can't trust that. And actually, I tried it the other day just to see how it did, and sure enough, it didn't do worth a darn. So won't be using that computer, which is a shame, because I have a great computer and it runs vMix in this type of environment with all these cameras and everything extremely well. But either way, so I'll be going with AWS. Try that out soon. Hopefully that goes well. Hopefully it's just easy to set up. Like I know I've tried it before and just feel like there's a lot to it. So I'm gonna have to look up some tutorials and do that. The cameras on course, it just gives a lot to have to switch between. It's tough. It's tough when you got 8 cameras and you're trying to watch them all. And with those cameras, it's not like they're close by the athletes all the time anyway. They're just sitting there, so you don't. It's hard to tell when the athletes are getting close to you until they get close to you. So it's hard to know when to switch to those as easily as it is the other cameras that are sitting right next to it, the athletes. So I'll keep using those. They're definitely good to have, especially when you just have no shot and you need something to switch to. It's great to have that there, but I don't think we're going to be looking to rely on them as much as, one might think. Like, we just don't need cameras we don't need like 8 cameras just sitting there on the course. That's not going to do us any good. You'd have to have a camera on every obstacle, every fitness station for DEKA, and that would be impractical. But anyway, you just don't get the close-ups like that anyway. And I mean, if we had some PTZ optics cameras and we could control them remotely, that'd be amazing, but that's not happening anytime soon. Those things are expensive. But it's all right. I think I switched between them as much as I could, and then I probably lacked on it on the second half of the race, and I don't know. It's just not as good. Seeing them run by, it's just not as good as having the rabbit that's running with them, to me. So I think it works better on obstacles. Having them out there mounted on an obstacle is nice, but other than that, I will use them at OCR DEKA Worlds, but don't plan on like getting all the shots with them. It's really just more to have something to switch to when needed. Having 5 of them is probably unnecessary though. And so that went well, I think, but it was just like everything was choppy for me, so it was just hard to tell if it was going well, but I'm pretty sure it did today. So it was cool being on site. The interviews that we got at the end were awesome. Being able to go to the athletes and pull them in like that was really cool. Hopefully we'll get to do some of that at OCRWC as well. And I think that's about it. I know there's more to it. Oh, there's definitely some stuff that, like, during the show that I didn't do well because I was focused on the fact that I felt like the computer was dying. On top of that, the cameras for the rabbits, we only had 3. We're using Rivet Remote, and one of them was working great. Another one seemed like it was doing the same thing my phone has been doing when I've been testing in the past 2 weeks. And it's like they made an update to the Android version, and something about it is making it just be bad. It's like it connects, but then the screen is just glitchy the whole time. So it's just like, I can't use this at all. So we had to swap out one person's phone for another person's phone, and then another person's phone was just... the one we swapped out for was just crashing every time. So I actually switched it to a new rivet stream, and it worked for some reason. I don't know, just a little weird stuff like that. It's just like troubleshooting that stuff on the fly during a race or like when you got 10 minutes and the race is about to start, is such a pain in the butt, but we got it done. And then on top of all that, the screen I had for the commentators to be able to see the picture, the images, the video was just frozen, and I didn't know why. So I ended up resetting them at one point. I kind of just told them to hold up for a second and reset them, and then they could see it after that. But yeah, I think it went well. Those guys did awesome, and I'm currently in a electric car, and I've got to go. I'm going trying to find a charger before I take it back to the airport. As far as I know, it's still a pretty new thing, but as far as I know, when you return a EV car, it's supposed to be EV, it's supposed to be above 70 or 75%, depending on who you go with, or they charge you a fee. It's basically like coming back without your tank empty. Another thing, the DEKA was at a fitness expo, so it was in this big convention hall, and there was a bunch of other stuff. There was like some judo and some other things, maybe CrossFit or something. But there was a wrestling ring for an amateur wrestling group called, I don't even remember now. But anyway, I got to watch a couple matches while I was there, which is cool. Because we watched wrestling a lot growing up, and just boys and fighting. Like that's always fun. My son, I sent him a couple of pictures of it and some video of it, and of course sent it to my brother as well. So that was pretty neat to get to see that. And so one of the things I did when I was trying to troubleshoot the camera's not working and the computer getting overpowered by its CPU, and I tried disconnecting myself. So it's like take one of the vMix callers off the call, and so I disconnected myself, and then I couldn't hear the commentators. Now the commentators were sitting right next to me, but it was still loud and I couldn't hear them well, and I couldn't hear how well the cameras were doing either. I couldn't hear if they were too loud or whatever. So at the beginning of the show, cameras might have been loud for a bit, but after a bit I got them turned down and I realized what was going on. And I got myself reconnected too, so I was able to hear if they sounded all right or not, and got them turned back on or turned down properly. So it was an interesting show. I want to have a show that's just goes smooth for once. That would be nice, but just so many things to try and work on. You just never know. You just never know what's going to come up, no matter how prepared you are. And then on top of all that, I had forgotten to change the URL that brings in the results. So the first station splits that popped up was from last race, and then I realized, all the things that I had done, I forgot this one thing, and so I got that swapped out. It was good after that. I think there was an issue on their side because a lot of it's like some people, their 5K times got messed up or something, and then there was like the last person was at the top instead of being in the bottom. It was just kind of weird. So little weird things like that. But anyway, if you listen to this, I hope you enjoyed hearing some of the back end. Lots of cables and just little devices to hook up. I did get to hook it up yesterday and left a lot of it out. I took about like my laptop and stuff, but left a lot of all the plugs where they were and stuff like that. That was nice. Very, very nice to be able to just walk in there this morning and just plug in a few things and then be done. But so anyway, yeah, thanks for listening, and hope you enjoy the technical side of it. I am kind of wiped right now, so apologies if I don't have as big of energy as I tend to sometimes. Not that my energy is that great anyway, but anyway, that's besides the point. I'll stop here so you can go about your day. Thanks for listening. See you next time. I gotta find the app and close this first, though, so you get to listen to me for a moment more, because I'm trying to do this while I'm driving, and I don't want to be unsafe. So maybe I'll find this in a moment. Otherwise, I'm driving around Orlando. Oh, found it. All right, thanks. See y'all.